Hi, I'm Staci Johnson and this is Rob Jenkins, and we just finished our workshop entitled Building the Bridge from Accuracy to Fluency.
Our presentation was on grammar, and we specifically talked about our philosophy of how grammar is not an end in itself, that we don't look just at the mechanical part of grammar, but we really need to think about what it really means, and that's that we're teaching grammar for communication, and that we don't, it's not so much about our students, about us teaching, but about our students learning. And so we talked about a few principles related to that, and then we gave some good examples of how you might be able to incorporate these ideas into practice.
So Rob and I have come up with 5 essentials for learning grammar, not teaching. We really want to focus on our students and focus on the students learning. And those 5 essentials are: 1, that students learn better within a context. 2, that our students learn differently. It's important to remember that all of our students have different learning styles, and we really need to know our students and know our classroom in order to best teach them. Also, students learn better in manageable chunks. So oftentimes we try to give them too much at once, too much grammar, too much vocabulary, and we really need to think about how much they can really learn in one day and be able to break that down for them. Number 4, students learn better by doing activities that move from controlled to open-ended. So you want to start with accuracy building activities where they're just working on the structure, and then you slowly want to add meaning in until eventually you get to open-ended activities where they're dealing with more personal information. And 5, if students learn how to learn, they'll acquire grammar better. So it's really important to teach our students how to learn, how to read that grammar chart, how to ask the right questions so that they can become better students and they're not always so dependent on their instructors.
So much that we see in our books these days have to do with constructing the grammar. And we talk a lot about it. In fact, the average book has about 106 different concepts. And with those 106 concepts, if you do the math, it computes down to about 7 concepts a week. That's a lot for our students to get. And sometimes we forget about the communication part. And we don't really think about what the students need. We think more about what we need to do to get done and get through it. And so really that's what we were talking about today. We talked a lot about making sure that we never lose sight of the context, and especially of the purpose for what we're doing, of the big picture is what we called it.
And in order to make that big picture apparent in the classroom, it's really important for you to think about your lesson and how you're going to plan your day. And we talked a little bit about that. And the way to do that is to make sure that you establish your context, present limited concepts. I talked about the chunking before, but break it down for your students. Practice each concept mechanically, so just the structure by itself, then add in the meaningful activities, and then to practice everything communicatively so the students are really practicing what they learned and they can really prove to you and themselves that they learned something. And then have them apply that to their own lives. And so that really accomplishes the big picture. We talked about how important it is to try to make all of that happen in one day, one lesson, so that you're not making that span over an entire week, because it's really important for the students to walk out of the classroom knowing that they learned something that day and that they can go out and use that English.
That's really what we did today in a nutshell. We put it all together, trying to explain that as we learn, as our students learn, and as we teach, we need to keep them in mind. We need to keep the big picture in mind. We need to go from mechanical to less controlled to open-ended. We need to be thinking about meaningful activities and not rest solely on mechanical activities.
That's it.